y gracias a todos también por la asistencia y por la espera. Les comento que estábamos struggling ahí, como peleando con la traducción con inteligencia artificial y parte ganamos, parte no. Así que eventualmente algunas necesidades que pudieran ocurrir, yo voy a servir de traductor no profesional, así que no esperen una traducción simultánea, comentándole a Alice que de repente no está funcionando tan bien la traducción hacia ella, que es importante. Ahora, ¿quién es esta señora? Esta señora es tremendamente importante para nosotros, para el desarrollo del coaching, mentoring, y además ahora es una impulsora del mundo de la supervisión. Ella tiene unas buen ejemplo a seguir en muchas áreas. Y tenemos la suerte de que ella nos está apoyando en la difusión de EMCC a través de como spreading the word, ¿no? Como haciendo un trabajo misionero. Para nosotros es un gran orgullo poder contar con ella. Así que los dejo con Liz para que nos hable del tema que es tan interesante y que está permeando gran parte de nuestro quehacer diario, que es inteligencia artificial, y que también se va a introducir en nuestros trabajos de coaches, como mentores y como supervisores. Así que, dice, um, it's on you now, so your time.
Okay, thank you, Paul, and buenas tardes, and encantado de estar contigo. So, thank you for inviting me today to be with you, and I haven't got a clue what Paul has just said, but I'm sure it's all very nice. So, thank you for the introduction, Paul. So, I'd like to this afternoon actually for you, isn't it? It's this evening where I am in England. It's dark and hence all the lights on in my room. And I'd like to do a short intro to introduce a session on artificial intelligence. I'd like to put that in the context of leadership. And for yourselves, you might like to think about this from your own perspective as a coach, a mentor, or a supervisor, or all of those. You might like to think about your clients that you have in organizations or clients that are not in organizations. So wherever you can apply this presentation that I'm going to share with you this evening, hopefully it will give you some insights into how we can use artificial intelligence in those circumstances. Okay, I'm really happy to take any questions, but obviously I need those translated, and I think Marisol is going to help me with that. So thank you very much, Marisol, for taking that on. Now I'm going to share a slide deck. I am going to attempt some live demonstrations online. So we know what technology is like. It worked perfectly before I started this session, and I've got everything crossed that it's going to continue that way throughout. Let's see if technology is on our side. So let's get started and share this with you. See, I didn't want that. already we haven't got our sharing right. That comes later. All right, that's the one I want. Okay, so I want to set the context, as I say, in thinking about tomorrow's leadership. What's happening in our world of work? What do we need to be conscious of as practitioners? And how can we support our clients, whether they're coaches, leaders, whatever their role is? And I'm going to use that as a lead-in, as I mentioned, to artificial intelligence. So can you see my slides okay?
Yes, we can.
Good, thank you. That's always helpful to know. Okay, so the leadership profile that we're looking at is to be thinking about relational leadership. I've done quite a bit of research on this, and everything tells me that the relationship is the most important feature in the world of work going forward. Obviously, other things are important too, but we need to be mindful ourselves and also as leaders in organizations that we focus on the leadership. And that takes us into thinking about how we manage ourselves. What kind of temperament do we have? Are we easygoing? Are we directive? Are we non-directive? Are we traditional hierarchical? So we've got to think about those areas. Also, what are our engagement skills like? You can think of some professions where you may stereotype how people might be in those professions. So we could think of engineers and architects and technological people as perhaps not being so focused on people skills. They might be much more focused on technical skills. Or we could think of people like ourselves, or in HR, or social services, or those people-focused professions that we have, where engagement skills might be easier to come by. We also want to encourage our clients, if they are leaders, to be a role model for the people in the organizations, because what people see us do, it is where they get their clues from about the culture in the organization. And that takes us up to technological awareness about, okay, got something else coming up. Technological awareness about in ourselves. How aware are you as practitioners? What interest do we take in it? We're on Zoom now, and that's a fairly popular platform. But what else do we know that we can use to support our clients in their work? If we're working with clients, we might like to talk with them about it and say, what's the technological infrastructure like in the organization? Is it compatible with the needs of business today? Does it need looking at, refreshing? As we know, technology moves really swiftly. So we have to think about, are we keeping up with that? Also, how can we leverage the use of AI in the organization? We need to be on top of this. We can't be up to date with it all the time because it moves too quickly. But we do need to have some idea of how we can use it and where we can take it. So leadership, we need to be flexible. I keep getting things coming up on my screen that are covering up some of the slides. So you might see me doing a little bit of movement around. Leadership agility, where are we on that continuum as leaders? Are we up that very end of traditional organizations where it's hierarchical, top-down leadership? Or are we up the other end where it's completely open? We include everybody, we have inclusive leadership, very flat structures, or are we somewhere along those continuums? Along that continuum, where are the clients we work with? Where are we? I'm saying where are we because I'm not sure if we have leaders on the call, and if so, I want to include you as well. So it's about also having that systemic mindset. It's not just about, what we're focused in the place that we're immediately our workplace. It's about how can we open that up? What's happening in other departments in our organization? what's happening in our sectors, what's happening politically, what's happening sociologically. So we need to be looking at very wide at that systemic influence, what's happening in our ecology, to see how that impacts on our practice as practitioners and on some of our clients who are leaders. What kind of legacy do we encourage our leaders to build? Why are we there? What's the purpose of our work? Do we want to sow the seeds for the future enhancement of the organization to keep its viability? Or doesn't that matter? No, where are we? Our leaders need to be adaptable. Adaptability is the name of the game. Honoring diversity, and that's more than culture, that's more than race, that's more than religion. It's also about diversity of ideas. We may all be from the same culture, but we can still embrace diversity by thinking about what does each of us contribute with our special knowledge and our special skills. Are we resourceful enough during change? We're beyond resilience, we're now into anti-fragility. How do we build our resources internally to meet the change head on and welcome it and think it is what it is? We're never going to keep up with change. It's part of where we are in our world. It's part of being in an uncertain world and seeing uncertainty as an opportunity, not as something that's going to stop us stopping us being successful. What can we learn from it? Chaos. We can always find some change out of chaos that can make the world and our organization, etc., a better place. And then that distributed leadership, you may already be familiar with organizations that have this in place. It's something about empowering each of us to bring out our own leadership skills. What do we have? Recognizing talent. I know there's something else underneath that talent recognition. However, I can't see it because the translation is up there. So I hope you can work that out for yourself, what that means. There's also this shared learning. We need to be thinking about the collective learning, the collective intelligence. What can we embrace that we can all use and support each other? Enabling by engaging. So as leaders in our organizations, we need to be thinking about, how am I going to engage everyone? How do I motivate, encourage, give people bandwidth to be able to shine? And how do I get knowledge from networking? Not just kind of going with what's in my immediate vicinity of where I work, but what can I learn from people in other organizations that have a similar role to me, and that I can have a conversation with them, a peer conversation. So that's just giving you a brief glimpse into the leadership space. And then we want to be thinking about putting the relational leadership muscle. Where do we get that from? It starts with a values match. Do our values match the people that we're working with? Do they match the organization we work in? Do they match the culture of the organization? Do they match our peers? Do they match our leaders? What do we do if there's a mismatch? It's going to impact, obviously, our relationships. What are our learning preferences? How do we like to learn? How do our colleagues like to learn? How do our direct reports like to learn? How do our clients like to learn? Do we even think about that, or do we assume that everyone learns in the same way as we do? Do we have that adaptive leadership style where we can be flexible and change ourselves or calibrate our style to meet the needs of what's happening right now and to help others? Do we worry about being emotional intelligent, or do we think, well, people come to work, they expect to just get on with their work, and there's a job to be done and it needs to be done. I don't have to worry about getting engaged. Well, we do have to worry about it. And this is where we can come in as practitioners, as we know. I'm sure you all work in this field, as well as the social intelligence that goes hand in hand with relational leadership. And that cultural intelligence around, we're working on a global platform. how do we interface with people on our global teams, for example? Yeah. How does that work? Do we have to do some work on ourselves, or are we very conscious of it? Marisol, I'm just checking in with you. Is the speed of how I'm speaking okay?
I think it's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's move on to how can we accelerate relational intelligence? This is just it. This could be in ourselves, it could be in our clients, it could be generally. We need to be thinking about the attributes that go with relational leadership. And I did my doctoral research on feedback, which came up with some of the themes that help us to create this relational leadership muscle. And the top three that came out was, what emotional state are we in when we engage with others? If we've just come from a really kind of a meeting that's kind of been quite antagonistic, and there's been lots of views there, and people are kind of vying for space, or you can't get your voice in, etc., etc. We might have heightened emotion that's not going to be very conducive when we say go in to meet our team or our clients. Yeah. And we had, if we've got some personal upset that's going on, we're human beings at the end of the day. What's happening there? And then do we have compassion for not only others? We know about having compassion for others as coaches and supervisors, as mentors, and hopefully as leaders. But do we have compassion for ourselves as well? It's tough out there at the moment. We're still kind of trying to find our way post-COVID. We've still got lots of things that have come out of there that are more challenges for us that we need to sort out. Do we have compassion for ourselves to say, it is tough today. I've not had a good day today. So what can I do, or what support can I get to actually bring me back to my own sense of being and my own well-being? Those two areas are most important in building trust with others. Yeah. So if we've got trust in people, we can kind of flex those times when we may not be exactly in our best place or our best space. We can flex that because we've built that trusting relationship. We can rely on people helping us in times of chaos, in times of pressure, when we have to get that job out today, So it's about encouraging our clients. We are at the moment as practitioners. It's about encouraging them to have this way of being. Okay, so how can we get personal growth enablers? Because I don't know about you, but I know when in my practice as a coach, when I go into organizations, they go, yeah, that's all right to say all of that, Lise. However, we're on 24/7. There's expectations that we answer emails outside of work. We answer WhatsApp messages at any time of the day. We're working on a global platform, so we're on a 24-hour clock. So when do we get time to get this time for us so that we can get our own growth? Well, what we can encourage is how much personal freedom is there in how we do our work. So do we work for someone that enables us rather than disables us? What spaciousness can we create within the hours of work? Can we say, okay, I'll spend an hour answering my emails. That's never enough time, I know. But can we say that and then be in the mindset that I'll then have half an hour, even if you had 2 minutes to do a meditation or some mindfulness. 2 minutes is not long out of our day, but they are so important minutes that we take time out. Could we do a mindfulness walk around the building? Could we do a mindfulness walk in the fresh air, which is even better? Could we go with our clients? I'm sure some of you already do go for a mindfulness walk with clients, or go and sit in a park, just so that we've got a change of scenery and change of tempo. And finding creativity in that time-bound world of work. How can we shake things up a little bit and do things differently? and take control of situations, to think, do you know what? I think I'm going to do this in a different format altogether. And hopefully, if we embrace artificial intelligence more effectively, we can use that to help us with that creativity. Because that constant busy on all the time, and you know what? It becomes a pattern. It becomes a phrase we say when people say, well, how are you today? I'm fine, except I'm always busy. I can't find time for any of this because I'm always busy. Really? Are we really always busy? Question that with our clients. Ask them to talk about a typical day. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying that sometimes it can become a way of thinking because we believe we're on all the time because of technology. And our well-being hinges on that intrinsic and extrinsic motivations. Is the job itself exciting enough to keep me engaged and re-energize me? Or does it drain my energy? Can I get in touch with my boss whenever I want to and get that extrinsic motivation? And we know that stress fueled by our relationship is fueled by our relationship with time. If we constantly think we're under pressure, we will increase our levels of stress. So that's going to disable rather than enable our personal growth. Okay, so I want us to just take a little breather there, all right? Because what I've done is just set the world of work for you. Now I want to start us thinking around artificial intelligence. All right. Can I just ask you, Marisol, are there any questions so far?
No questions.
You need to be mindful of?
Actually, I think we are having some problems with the translation, with the automatic translation. It's not really coherent. So maybe some of them are struggling with understanding what you're saying. So let's help people in that sense, okay? Let's see, how can we...
So what can we do for? Would it help if I spoke slower?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe you're too fast to artificial intelligence. You're catching your speed language.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to check in.
Yeah,
So,
maybe a little bit slower, it would be better.
that's okay. I'll do my best and say, Lise,
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Paul, go like this. If I start speaking too fast, just slow me down.
Thank you.
Try signals.
Yes. Does this already look as though it's translating more easily? Now I'm speaking more slowly. Or not? Is it just the same?
Yes, it's better. It is better.
So I'm sorry, we can't start again. Because those of you that have heard this presentation, won't want to hear it again, but hopefully, because it's recorded, then when you listen to it back, you'll be able to fill in those gaps that we have.
Sure, and the video is going to have the captions also in Spanish.
Oh, and we can translate those captions into English as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's see how we get on then. So what I'm going to do now is to start on the artificial intelligence side. So fingers crossed that all this works okay for us, all right? So I want to start off by us thinking around how we came to start using artificial intelligence. And, it's been around for some time now. However, there may be some of us as practitioners who didn't engage in it. Our clients may have been local, so there was no need to. because we did in-person work. And my understanding is that perhaps Spanish-speaking people prefer, this is just my own kind of perception of Spanish people perhaps preferring in-person work. I know I have clients in other countries who prefer that, but you're the best judge of that, obviously. So if that's the case, then it's likely that we won't take on AI readily. But of course, COVID came along and we were forced into using technology if we wanted to be able to converse, work, and meet other people. I used Zoom already with clients before COVID because that was the nature of my practice, because I had an international client base. So I was very familiar with Zoom, and before COVID came along, because I was attracting people from different parts of the world as clients for training in coaching and in supervision, I'd already put my programs available online. So I was really lucky. I'm not a witch, I promise you. I did not predict or know that COVID was coming along. I had no idea. But it did force a lot of us into becoming familiar with Zoom, which seemed to be very popular for individuals. So then what we call the late adopters went onto Zoom, and this is what Zoom offers. So I know that the captions were in English. However, I hope you got the idea that Zoom offers much more than what we're doing now in terms of having a conversation, which is amazing, isn't it? You're all in Latin America and I'm in England. And isn't that wonderful that we can have this time together? I'm pointing it out because those that came to technology late in terms of platforms are able to get training from Zoom, and they've enhanced that and it carries on. So that was the reason for showing that. As people progress, as we progress with platforms like Zoom, we may want to think, let's use the AI companion. We could have done that today as well as using the translator. Of course, it would have all been in English. But the AI companion, for any of those who have used it, or if you haven't used it, then it records the meeting. So it may not record it in terms of being absolutely perfect, but do you know what? If you've used it, I certainly have, it gives a pretty good example of what's been said in the meeting and who said what. Not only does it do that, it also summarizes what people have said. It may be sufficient for making notes of the meeting or not making a recording. We've always got the recording, of course, as we have now, but it may be sufficient and we don't need any more. My experience of working in organizations is that organizations are not very keen on Zoom. They like Teams. I use a Mac. It doesn't like Teams. It likes Microsoft because it's a Microsoft application. So I kind of dread it when I get a client who says, oh, we have to use Teams, Lise, and I do have a few of those. And just have to, suck it up, as we say, and just get on with it. So there will be other platforms, but those are the two most well known. as we progress even more, we can start thinking about how we can use technology as part of our teamwork. That's why we're going in organizations. People are relying more on the team efforts, not necessarily just the individual efforts. And here's a few here, you know, Troop Messenger. I didn't know some of these. I just collected a few off a web search. And Flock. I thought that was quite good for team collaboration. It reminded me of a group of sheep in a flock. Chanty, task management with team chat, helpful to sort out project maybe. Basecamp, I think you already use, because I know Paul uses Basecamp for project management. And WhatsApp, I think, is fairly frequently used globally, and Messenger. And of course, Zoom now, of course, because it wants to be the leader on the market, also has team chat. So there's so much around that we can utilize and benefit our own work, plus that of our clients. We also have ChatGPT, and I'm going to try and do a demo in a moment. But just to give an intro to it, if you haven't used ChatGPT, which is generative AI. So generative AI, it builds on data that it already has. Yeah, but it has to have the data to be able to build on the answers it gives you. So that's why it's called a predictive tool. Yeah, don't try for facts on it. It's a lot of students have been caught out with using it because it's wonderful. I'll just go and ask ChatGPT the answer to this question. You will get an answer. It will always answer us. However, those answers may be unreliable. So it's very good as a kind of platform for getting some ideas, you know, especially around if you want to make a marketing plan, etc., etc. You can get some ideas from ChatGPT. But remember, don't go to it for references or research because it can be unreliable. Tell it what role you want it to play. What do you want it to do for you? Do you want it to answer a question for you, or do you want it to do something else, to give advice? Tell it, and it will do its best to give that role. It also is helpful if you give some context around the topic that you're speaking about. Are you going to ask it a question? If you just give the flat question, you may not get an answer that gives you a contextualized one of how it might work in this situation or that situation, what you've got to be mindful of in that context, etc. So tell it what you want it to do. And it's very user-friendly, I think. What format do you want it in? It will do its best to kind of set out, if it's a report format that you want, say, I want this in report format. Yeah, if it's an email that you're finding difficult to write, or you haven't got some technical knowledge about it, say, I'm going to write an email and this is what I want you to help me with. The answer is this instant. I was really shocked the first time that I used it because I couldn't believe it. I'd only just put the question in and there was the answer. It's amazing. So in its way, it can be very useful. All right, so should we give it a go? ChatGPT. And I obviously prepared this earlier so that I could show you how it works. And I gave it the question, how can I explain supervision to new coaching clients? Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. All right, so I'm back with you because I want to share with you ChatGPT live, all right? Fingers crossed, everyone. So, where are you? And here we are. So, I asked it to explain coaching and supervision. And as you can see, I'm obviously not going to read all this out, But look at all this that I got from it with just that question. So it defined it for me. Don't know where it got the definition from, but we know there's no one agreed definition of supervision anyway. So, you know, this is one that we could use. It gave me the purpose of it. I didn't ask it that exact question, but that's what it gave me. And I thought that was pretty good. You know, it talked about quality assurance. Yeah, it ensures that the coaching you receive is of the highest standard. I really like the way it brought in ethical practice, because that's what often comes up in supervision. And giving us that idea about continuous improvement, helping us to develop. It's not about us personally. I thought that was helpful too, because the word supervision, you will know how that is accepted in your own community. But I know in the communities that I work in, supervision can sound as though I'm being checked up on. Somebody is going to judge me and look at my practice. I've even had people asking me when they come to supervision for the first time, because we haven't had a chance to talk about supervision fully, do they need to bring their client? You know, because they're used to supervision being watching you working or checking on your work. So we have to be careful about that use of that word, doesn't it? And I like that. It's not about you personally. It's looking at your practice. Yeah. I'm kind of thinking that that's a bit of a bold statement. It's what supervision is not. It's not about you personally, because we do also, as supervisors, help to shine the mirror, as we do as coaches, on our clients. You know, what's happening here. We're looking at personal growth. We are looking at quality management and practice. We're also looking at the well-being of our clients in supervision. So sometimes, maybe personally is not quite the right word, but sometimes it can be personal if we're talking about somebody's well-being. But I thought, you know, as a first stab, it's confidentiality that's come up. We might want to have a much broader conversation than that, but at least you've got the headings there that can be guidance for yourself to add things to it. So you see, I put that question in. Can you say more about confidentiality? Certainly, it says. Very, very engaging, relational, and then goes into further information about confidentiality, the limits of that, etc., your rights as a client, trust and openness. Look at all this information. And then it would go on. You know, this is, as I say, an example of what I put in earlier, but it would go on and ask you if you've got another question, or does this cover what you want? Very easy to get into. So I'll stop sharing that. And go back into the slide deck. And this next one is, I am actually going to try and have a conversation with AI. Well, actually, I'm going to ask you, and maybe Paul or Marisol, you need to translate a question from someone that's here with us at this meeting. But I'm going to ask you to work with AI coach. So you're going to work with a chatbot who is a coaching chatbot, okay? And so let's see again how this is going to work. See if it plays with us. And here we are. So I've already come into a session on AI coach. So it says, hi, I am your AI coach. Ready to start a coaching session? So I'm here. So I'm going to start the session. Fingers crossed. Right. So it's saying to me, Coaching is a journey of reflection, self-discovery, self-improvement. Expect questions for contemplation rather than advice from a textbook. Dedicate your time. Set aside at least 20 minutes of the session. So it's kind of contracting with me, okay, about how it wants to work with me. Sometimes slowing down is the key to speeding up. So it's giving me a clue that you can't rush things sometimes. And then it's telling me that they recommend it's completing the session in one sitting. And it will automatically complete within 24 hours. So this is a contracting conversation. And it's reassuring me it's okay to not know. If you don't know the answer to a question, it's fine to just say so. So, you know, it's setting the scene for me. It's reassuring me. It's telling me how it's going to pan out, and it's helping me. So, okay, are we ready? Let's go. So, I need a volunteer now to give me some answers. So, Paul and Marisol, can you help me out here?
Yeah, I can.
Of course.
I can help you.
Paul, are you going to be the client?
Okay.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. And it doesn't have to be about you, obviously. You can make it up. So how experienced are you with coaching? Are you none at all, some, or very?
Some experience.
Okay, let's highlight that one. Do you already have a clear goal that you want to work on? So this is a typical action planning.
Yes, I do.
Are you looking to gain insights, catalyze action, or both?
I think both.
Okay, that's already highlighted. We just reassure that. Anything else you would like me to know, the chat bot, before we start?
Yes. Can we ask if I'm going to have answers from the bot, or I have to find out my own answers?
No, because we're on. Okay.
Okay.
So let's start.
By the way, Liz, I don't know if there is something on your side or configuration, because when I'm speaking English, it is the translation is good.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you have to speak Spanish.
Well, I do have almost a daily Spanish online Mondly session, so you never know. One of these days.
I know.
So welcome back. I see you're looking to continue your existing goals. Don't know how I knew that, while gaining insights and developing concrete actions. How would you like to begin today? Now, I can't actually type this message in because the translation is over the message
Oh,
line.
you can move to translation.
I tried to.
above.
Oh, yeah, there I've done it now. Thank you.
No? Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've done it now. I've done it.
okay.
Can you see this screen, by the way?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, good.
I can.
So, how would you like to begin today, Paul?
Oh, it's a real question.
Yes.
It's like a regular coaching session. I would like to understand better what I have to do. It's too long. Let me short it. So you don't need to type a lot. How can I have more money? Simple. Go and work, we'll say.
Let's see what it says. Yeah, we can have fun with this. We don't have to be serious about it because it's just a demo of how it works.
Rob a bank.
I was thinking about it, Paul. What emotions or beliefs do you have about your current financial situation? Good question.
Anxiety. I have an anxious about that.
Anxiety.
Anxiety. Yeah.
Okay, let's just stick with
Let's
it.
put it borderline with therapy. I remember I was in a demo as well, was in the Czech Republic, and the bot afterwards this unqualified me.
Can you share more about what borderline with therapy means to you in relation to your financial anxiety? Can we kind of stop there, Paul? I'll tell you why.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
going to go on, isn't it?
Yes, yes, yes.
I want to thank you for being the pretend client.
Okay.
Do you think this is enough to give people an idea of what this particular chatbot can achieve?
Yes, I think it's enough, and it shows very well how you can move forward step by step as in a regular coaching session with some distinctions for sure.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that now.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm just checking in. We've got, a few more slides, not many, but I know we've come to the time that we agreed, but we started late. So if you're okay, I'll just carry on for a little longer. Is that okay?
It's okay, Liz. If
Thank
it's
you.
you, thank you.
Okay, okay. So I'm going to share again. So it was very good. It behaved itself. So what I wanted to point out here was that people that are early adopters, so people that are, really keen on AI. I mean, I'd love one of these headsets. I know they're normally used for gaming. However, if you've seen the Apple headset, it is brilliant. I just love one of those, but at $3,500, I don't think so. I'm going to wait, but I'd love to be in that virtual world. And this is great for, say, somebody who's really stressed or they don't know where they're going, to take them out of their world. Do you remember earlier I was talking about how we might take people out of their current situation? Let's use the metaverse, and use virtual reality and have some fun. And that obviously creates a different energy for our clients. So the younger generations, and I'm not just leaving it to the younger generations, because there's more mature people that are also very familiar with artificial intelligence, but the younger generations are brought up on it, basically. So they will be early adopters from babies. You see babies now going around in their pushchairs with their iPads and playing games on them. They're going to be way ahead with using AI. So, but let's just think about how we can be more creative as practitioners in terms of what we use. I wanted to just point out that book as well for anyone who's interested in looking at this further. This is a new publication by a guy called Sam Isaacson, and that was his website that I just used for the live session with Paul in how to survive as a coach in a digital world. I've also been on some of his sessions. If you don't know Paul, he's very accessible and helpful. And what do I have here for you? So we like to think that, we can't be replaced by artificial intelligence, we might think. we might be a bit more up for that, but we might think that we can't be replaced. So we have to think about how we can be different. But, you know, in one-to-one supervision, we could have an autonomous virtual human that we could, you know, as supervisors, we could bring them in. So I just want to give you, if you haven't seen this TED Talk, I'm not going to play it all, I'm just going to play part of it, about Emma. Let's just see what you take from this.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah, and I'm a talent manager. Who do I manage? A girl named Emma. She's a fashionista that lives in Tokyo. She posts about her life and her outfits on social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and X. She has a younger brother named Zim that she always gets in a fight with, a little dog named Einstein that she takes for walks. Her favorite food is yakitori, and she sits first row of fashion shows and dances to TikTok videos. Yep, just a normal girl online. Except she doesn't exist. She's a virtual human made from CGI, born in 2017. In other words, she's a fictional character made from 3D softwares, a unique blend of softwares like Maya and Unreal Engine, and a bit more. She's not a mimic or a copy of anyone that's existing in real life. She's a complete original character. These are some of her Instagram posts. The middle one is her brushing her teeth when she's virtual. The other one, it says, hashtag, I think I'm CGI, but these dogs are real. This one goes, I cut half my bang off. Is it gonna grow back even though I'm virtual? These are some of her other TikTok videos. Oh, and that brother that she has? Yep, you guessed it. He's not real either. I wish he was, though. We manage him and dozens other virtual humans around the world. And in the near future, we're integrating them with AI so that they become autonomous virtual humans that you can have a conversation with. This is a little demo video.
Nice to meet you, John. Feel free to ask me anything.
Nice to meet you too. How are you?
Nice to meet you. I'm feeling good today. How about you?
How does it actually feel to be fused with AI?
Yes, they exist in the virtual world, but these virtual humans have an impact in our real world too. Emma has repeatedly shared her opinions on real world issues, including climate change and Black Lives Matter. She initiated a community get-together in the virtual world during COVID for people who are feeling lonely and isolated. She also shares about her Japanese culture and subculture to her global audience. For these actions, she was actually chosen as one of the Forbes Woman of the Year, right beside the like.
So it goes on, and you can easily turn up this video on TED Talks. So, but as you can see, wow, surely that must make us think Emma could be a coach. Obviously, Emma needs programming. However, you know, maybe that's where we're going. So I'm not trying to frighten us all by showing these examples, but you may have seen some of them anyway. I'm just flagging up, we can't ignore it. Yeah, we cannot ignore artificial intelligence. It's no good putting our head in the sand if we are. But at the same time, we need to be thinking about using it wisely. We've got ethical considerations. We don't know how they've been programmed. We don't know where the data goes. You know, we trust Zoom, but you know, this is being recorded. Where is this recording going? Yeah, I mean, there must be lots of facilities where Zoom works on making sure that it's kept confidential and just for us. But, you know, you have to kind of think about these things, don't you? Especially when we're working with clients and we say the phrase, you know, let's talk about confidentiality. Yeah, it's safe here with us. It's just us here, so it's okay. Whereas in fact, it's not necessarily. So just another couple of slides to share with you, and then I'll see where we are then.
The likes of climate change activist
She
Greta
still
Thunberg.
wants to talk. We can also use AI to support, you know, if we're supervisors, for example, to support our clients' development. So to support our coaches' clients' development. So this could be a tool that we say to coaches, or we can just take it ourselves as a coach and invite our client to do something like this.
Hello and welcome to Vive Talk. Today, we are going to solve the biggest fear of humankind,
Big claim.
the fear of public speaking. The ability to communicate charismatically to an audience is a highly sought after skill set. Until now, the only way to get better is to suck it up and practice in front of a real audience. However, the fear is so intense for some people that they simply choose to avoid these situations. No, thanks to virtual reality. VR is especially effective in public speaking training for two reasons. Firstly, it provides ultra-realistic environments. And secondly, it enables true-to-life interactions between the speaker and the audience. The realism of VR convinces the brain that you're in an actual public speaking situation. This stimulates gradual adaptation and allows people to overcome anxiety and discomfort. Virtual speech and ovation are some of our favorite public speaking simulations. Select from a variety of situations, pitch ideas in the boardroom, or speak in front of 1,000 people. The training programs also offer feedback based on eye contact, voice pitch, pace, and many more criteria. Hone your skills to become more comfortable in speaking opportunities.
I'm moving on because I'm conscious of time, but I think you get the idea that we can use AI as a resource and encourage our clients to use those. And you know, sometimes they're useful, sometimes they're not. We've got to ask them to use their discretion. I was going to do a demo on creating a group supervision avatars, but my guess is you're used to using avatars. Is that right? On Zoom? You know, I could be avatar, I could be, yeah, I want to change my persona completely. And I'm going to be a dog, if that's what it is, in my green sweatshirt, my green hoodie, because I may feel freer to talk about something that I would feel embarrassed about, or you know, didn't want to speak up as Lise. So we could get a group of these if we had everybody on our call in say a group coaching or group supervision. We could get everyone to choose their own avatars. Maybe somebody would like to try now.
I don't have the option actually.
Oh, there you go. Paul is. Thank you, Paul. So
Yeah,
see?
I will.
Yeah, you're
Let's see.
there. I can see you, Paul.
I don't have the option.
Okay,
Yeah.
not everybody will, I know.
I feel very comfortable, like
Yeah, you see it.
this way now.
It's kind of a
I'm happy I'm not a cat.
Yes, because I would be chasing you by now, Paul. Anyway, you get the idea, don't you? That we could set up a
Right.
group. And also, oh, there you go, Pauline. That's brilliant, Pauline. I really like that.
We have another one, Paulina Valderrama. She's also having the option.
Oh, I can't see anymore.
You cannot see her?
No, I can only go as far as Claudia.
Oh, she's
I
like
can't-
a nice cow.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it? So you see, you get the idea. If you want to, if things are getting a bit heavy, you know, and you think, I just want to let's lighten the mood a bit. Okay, let's see what avatars we'd like to be for 5 minutes. You know, we can kind of do that kind of thing. Right, okay. So, oh, Pauline, boy, now, well done, Pauline. So I'm going to come out of my avatar now.
Okay.
Come back to being Lise. I'm kind of in the gloom, as you can tell. It's nighttime here in England, and it's very dark out there now. So here I am back with you. I think I just have another couple of slides to share with you, and that's us done. So here we go. So play with it. That's what I think I'm saying. I wanted to show you this one because it can be a bit scary if we're not using AI, we're not familiar with it, and it frightens us a bit. We could think, you know, I don't want to go down that route. Or we could think, it's not worth me being a coach anymore because AI is going to take over. And of course it has. When you see that chatbot that we had earlier, then you could set an action plan with that easily. You can put an app on your phone and you're fine. So we need to think as coaches and practitioners, what do we offer that's different from AI? So at the moment, AI gives information much quicker, much easier and succinctly than the human brain will ever do. So, you know, let's think, wow, that's a real resource that we can tap into. That's good. But they won't have our experience as a human being, our life experience, our work experience, etc., etc. It won't be able to get the insights necessarily. It might get some, but it won't be able to get the insights that we can pick up because of our humanness when we're talking to somebody else. It will have wisdom of the data that's been input into it, but it won't have human wisdom. It won't be able to recognize human patterns. That's a big part of our role as practitioner, that we notice those patterns. It can't do that yet. Intuition, it doesn't have emotion, so it doesn't have a subconscious. So it's unlikely that it's going to be able to use that sensation that we get when we think, there's something not quite right here that I need to pick up with this person. Use of self, there is an energy we create as human beings that we exchange with each other. AI doesn't have that type of energy. It has robotic energy or AI energy, not our type of energy. Confidentiality, we know where the kind of ethical part of that is. Confidentiality in AI will only be there by the people that have programmed it. Yeah, and have they thought about the ethical implications? So as humans, as a final word, we're unique. So let's hang on to that uniqueness and look for other reasons why people should choose us over AI, or let's embrace it. Or let's embrace it and say AI can accelerate my practice and support my clients. Okay, so there we go. We're at the end of our session. Thank you so much for your attention. I'm sorry if the translation hasn't been as effective as we would have liked it. I would have loved to have had more dialogue with you, to have had some questions from you, and to have had that that time to answer any questions. Oh, Horatio, that's a good look.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Roberto, we're all finding those. So could I hand back to you, Paul and Marisol, as you know, I finished the presentation for you. Hope
Great
it's been
presentation.
helpful.
Thank you. Great presentation, Lise.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Muchas gracias.
I don't know if we have got some questions. I will ask them in Spanish, just in case.
Okay.
¿Tienen alguna pregunta que pudiéramos hacerle a Lise? No sé, y siento mucho algo que pasó con la configuración de allá para acá. No sé si es el acento inglés que pudiera ser, que corta algo las palabras, y esto está hecho para Estados Unidos probablemente, porque uno no selecciona el tipo de inglés.
No está
Selecciona inglés y hay muchos tipos de acentos, ¿no? Pudiera haber sido eso. Entonces, si alguien tiene alguna pregunta que pudiéramos transmitirle a Lise, o si quieren ustedes hacérselas directamente, encantado. ¿No?
Yes, I would like. I'm Betsy here from Bogota.
Hi,
Thank
Betsy.
you, Liz. I had the beautiful opportunity to meet you in Cordova some couple of months ago.
Oh, I love that visit, Betsy.
Okay, I totally know that this is quite a huge challenge. And how would you suggest our first step to embrace all these tools? Because I'm pretty concerned that now I can have a coach session with artificial intelligence. But as a coach, as a professional coach, what do you suggest should be our first step to embrace this technology?
Well, what I tried, and hi again, Betsy. I recognise you now that I can see you on screen. I didn't recognise you as your avatar, but I do recognise you now. It's very lovely. What I tried to do in that presentation, Betsy, was to build it. So to say, you know, don't be frightened of it. Zoom is very resourceful. The way I started, because I started from scratch, I'm not a technical person at all. Well, I am now because I've been playing with it, but you know what I mean? I have no technical background. That's what I'm trying to say. Everything that I've done, that I've either self-learned or I've just been on a recent program where I've got a bit more insight into it. So I would say, I think Zoom is a great learning platform because it has so many resources. You know, I started off with a whiteboard, for example, and got used to encouraging people to put Post-it notes on, you know, with some text on so that they could put their ideas up there. And it kind of lightens the session as well. So, and you could put symbols on, so you can do a constellation work. So it helps us to be more creative as well. So I'd say don't try and kind of, it's a bit like eat the elephant a bite at a time kind of thing, you know, don't think I can do the whole thing straight away, and you may never want to. Let's not set ourselves up to fail in terms of getting into very heavy AI. We can use it very effectively. What I would say to you is be mindful of your client base. If you are working with younger people, it's highly likely that they will be into virtual reality, even if it's through gaming. What do you do if they say, do you know what, I want to run this session using my virtual reality screen? You know, we do need to know what these things are. Horacio's having a great time with avatars. I really like it. But you see where I'm coming from. We just need to be aware. And I don't know how you feel about kind of going on just short courses that are around. There's plenty around. Just to get used to the language as well. It's obviously a different language altogether. So, as I say, I think Zoom is a really good starting place.
Thank you, Liz. I think the key word here is to play. Allow us ourselves to play. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. That's a very good point to make, because let's be light about it. It's fun. It's fun if we just go into it in that way. And yeah, I mean, I'm absolutely amazed that I was kept online tonight. I was fully expecting it to crash. And me saying, well, you know, I was going to do this. However, it crashed. So can you just look it up yourself? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But we all know that. We all know technology can let us down when it's worked perfectly well 5 minutes before. So I would say, don't be worried. Just play. Thank you for picking up that word. Play with it and enjoy it. You're welcome. I love those hearts going up. You see how nice that is? Thank you.
Thank you, Lise.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your presentation, for your time. I'm being so late during this evening in London. So thank you.
It's okay. I've really enjoyed being with you all. Thank you. Even if I couldn't join you in Spanish, I'm sorry, but I really enjoyed being here with
Don't
you.
worry. Thank you so
It
much.
was great. And it was great. Thank you for your kindness as well.
Thank you.
Sure.
Marisol.
Muchas gracias a todos por acompañarnos, por estar con nosotros en esta increíble charla. Nos comprometemos de parte de EMCC LATAM a subir el video a nuestra cuenta de YouTube con subtítulos en español y también para Lise con subtítulos en inglés si los necesita. Así que esperamos ya la próxima semana enviarles un correo a todos los asistentes, a los que no pudieron asistir, poder ver nuevamente el video con los subtítulos correspondientes. Así que muchísimas gracias a todos. Muchísimas gracias.
Muy bien. Muchas gracias a todos por haber estado.
It was a
Muchas
pleasure
gracias.
to be with you once again.
Thank you. Thank you, Marisol. Thank you.
Gracias a ti, Paul. Gracias a todos.
Bien, estén bien. Gracias a todos.
Gracias, Paul. Gracias. Un gusto
Gracias.
volverte a ver.